is Dan Chinder with Drum Talk TV, and I'm here with my twin brother, Jon Berger. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. It's been a blast bumping into you here the last couple of days because Jon and I participate in a few different Facebook platforms created actually by Matt Patella, and they are all having to do with drum education, drum awareness. Just some of them are more educational, whereas some are more like chat forums, basically. And Jon and I comment on each other's stuff, and to meet someone like that in person is just, you know, it humanizes the experience, you know. Now, Jon, as you know, I talk to drummers from all different genres of music and cultures and ages and all of that. Jon is a Broadway show drummer and percussionist, which I find really interesting because I had a guy tell me recently where I live in Las Vegas he's in the big Beatles show. Right. He's also in a Rush tribute band, and he was asked to sub for a gig doing show tunes. He said it was the hardest thing he ever did in his drumming career. Well, what's the deal?
Well, I mean, number one, people think of Broadway show tunes and they think Eliza Minnelli and you're just going boom chick, boom chick. The thing is, I mean, there's shows you're familiar with. Today, popular shows like Book of Mormon is very high-energy pop music. I worked in a show called In the Heights, which won the Tony, which is Afro-Cuban pop and hip-hop. All kinds of genres. Rock of Ages is classic rock. So it's Broadway. Basically, what I tell kids when I I do these workshops with kids and outreach stuff. And another tip, what I tell them is they're telling a story through singing and dancing, which essentially is what it is. As far as the music goes, what's difficult about it is you're not playing in a band. It's not about the music, even though the music is bringing the show to life, and it's animating everything about it. You're really like the framework and the color. The difficult part for the performers is they have to get the lyrics out, which is the story, make that clear while they're dancing, while they're acting. So what that means is, as a drummer, you're used to like laying it down. I got it. I got the feel. It's a totally different thing. The conductor, it's as if you have a pianist accompanying a singer. That's what the conductor does, okay? He's following the singer with the piano. The conductor has to follow the singers, which means even though you're playing a funk tune, a hard funk tune, if the tempo is too fast and they can't get the words out, they can't execute the dance, you have to follow the conductor. The great drummer Tommy Igoe played for Lion King for over 10 years. He had a very astute statement. He said the conductor is always right even when he's wrong. So you might be playing a really hard funk tune. Yeah, this sounds like a Tower of Power tune, but the conductor makes you play it really slow. The reason for that is the dancers have to be able to sing and dance and so the story is clear. So it's about being really supportive, and it's different than backing a singer in a jazz club. It was very challenging, and nowadays there's no more studio work left anymore, you know, because of technology. Classical orchestras are going belly up, so the world's greatest musicians are playing in town. What this means is, not only does it sound great, but the orchestrators are writing incredibly difficult music to play. So you're not just like laying down a rock beat. I mean, very often, some shows I'm playing timpani and xylophone and picking up a shaker while I have to follow the conductor, while I'm following this music. So it's very, very involved, and I've seen some of the greatest musicians, heroes of mine, come in and crash and burn on a Broadway show. They did some of the homework, but it's like, it's a whole nother thing. And, but as I was said before, there's such a great variety of music that's what I love about it.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like an encyclopedia of music, but as the drummer percussionist, it sounds like you really have to incorporate the discipline of adaptability.
Yes.
Is that one of the keys?
Absolutely, adaptability, and sometimes, like stylistically, I'll give you an example. A very close friend of mine, Damian Bassman, a virtuoso player on Broadway, he called me. He was playing the percussion book at Color Purple, which is a heavy African. There's a whole 10-minute feature African djembe solo. I play some hand drums. I get a nice sound. I can sort of speak the language. I was totally intimidated. This is a perfect example. I saw what he was doing. He's very organized. He went to Juilliard School of Music, so everything was laid out, organized. He does it, some improvisation, but a lot of it was written out. I went home and I got my djembe chops together. On these kind of gigs, suddenly you're called to do something. I have to do a crash course and really get it together. I was his first call sub after that. I mean, it happens a lot. That Afro-Cuban show, I played some Latin music, but I really learned from one of the best in the business on the show, and I brought my whole game. I learned a lot more about Afro-Cuban music for playing this Broadway show. It's not Liza Minnelli, boom chick, boom chick. I was like slamming out Afro-Cuban and hip-hop, and I love this. The conductor liked it. He was Cuban. I nicknamed myself Gringo Star on that gig, which they really liked. So.
You get a mop wig?
Yeah, right. But
that's really cool. How much of your ability to properly articulate the parts during the show, I know you explained following the conductor is key and it's the rule, but how much of your articulation comes from what you do in rehearsal versus, okay, now it's happening and the way he or she conducts it today is the way it's going to happen? What's the percentage on one side or the other? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the thing that you have to be aware and open, you really have to be inside the music. I mean, there's one misnomer. People say, you play on Broadway, you must be a great reader. It's actually not true. There's a lot of...
my next question, so thank you.
But it's sort of related to this. There are a lot of amazing, world-class guys on Broadway that don't sight read very well. You're not sight reading. What happens is, I'll just give you a very brief breakdown of how it happens. Every single show, whether it's Les Mis, whether it's some show that crashed and burned after a month and didn't sell, they're all workshopped. They're done in a dance studio. They hire the musicians, maybe a piano player and a drummer, and they start to write the book and put it together, okay? You do that, then they play for backers, financial people. They get a theater, okay? And then you have a preview process of 3 weeks, and during that preview process, sometimes it's done out of town with a test audience, they're constantly changing the music until a point when the show is frozen, okay? And what this means is everything you play, the tempos, the dance cues, everything. They even have a dance arranger on Broadway. His job is to write all the dance kicks, everything that relates to the dance, and the orchestrator. All that stuff by third week of previews before opening night is frozen. For a drummer and guitar player, bass player, there's some spots where you can improvise a little bit. The things that shift, as I said before, is like little tempo things. But by the time you're inside that music, so you can watch the conductor, you can be aware if there's some like kind of vaudeville cue off the stage, you can grab that. But the music is pretty much fixed. There's not a lot of, and also you expect it to pretty much do it the same way night after night. It may not sound like that to the audience. The level of playing is so high, and guys, he's like, they can just, make it sound like it's fresh. But 8 shows a week. I work at Jersey Boys. I'm a sub there. The show's running six years. You're expected for 6 years the same way. 8 shows, you have to play it the same way, with a little bit of room of flexibility. But the flexibility really comes from being aware and supporting. It's not about you, it's not about the music. It sounds odd, but that's sort of secondary. You have to take that mindset and take the ego out of it.
It's the bigger picture, because it's a theatrical production, really. It's a show. People
are coming to see the stage. They might say, wow, that trumpet player was amazing, the drummer sounded, I love the percussion. But really, it's the story that needs to be conveyed, and you're creating all the color.
You're like part of the language. Yeah. That's great insight. Now, you also teach, correct?
I do.
And do you teach anything specific, any specific genres?
Everything, because I pretty much play it all, and I offer that. But my whole thing, whether they're absolute beginners or they're advanced players, my whole thing is about music. About teaching music, applying everything to music. Whatever it is, if you're doing rudiments, if you're doing coordination, if you're, some like lick you really want to learn, to me, it has to apply to music, I get the most basic students in their first lesson, I have them playing maybe a rock beat, I have them playing an AC/DC Back in Black. It has to apply to music. it's not exercise, and it becomes dry and boring.
And where are you located again? I'm sorry.
I'm in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is just right outside Manhattan.
Right. And magically, even though I had to ask, magically all of Jon's information's right here on the screen. If you want to get in touch with him, inquire about lessons, talk show tune music, just get some insight to some other tips that'll help you as a drummer regardless of the style of music that you play, hit Jon up. Hit him up on his website, email, Facebook. He's a very accessible guy. See? I got him right here. Thanks for joining us here on
pleasure.
Drum Talk TV.
And if I give a little tip too, we're here with the wonderful Peisty cymbals.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, that's why we're here. Jon's a Peisty artist. Some of the greatest cymbals in the world, some of the greatest drumming icons over time have played and are playing these cymbals. We're here at the Peisty booth. A lot of great new products, and I don't know how well you can hear it. We have to adjust the microphone so you can hear us, of course, but great tinkling and crashing and splashing and chinas and just everything. A beautiful line, an age-old line. Yes. And you must love being a part of such a, I'm going to say, a cymbal dynasty.
I absolutely love it. They're very musical cymbals, and you know, we're here in the NAMM show surrounded by great product. And also I play DW drums and hardware and Vader sticks and Remo drum heads, all wonderful companies, real family, and you know, all about, you know, supporting live music, which is, you know, really what it's about. You know, what's so great about theater is live people moving air, you know, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, Jon. We will do this again.
Absolutely.
We'll do it from the comfort of our own home studios online, and there'll be plenty of more content. We wanted to give you a little teaser, a little taste of the burger, the Gringo Star, Jon Berger, my twin brother on the East Coast. Thanks for joining me. Dan Schinder here with Jon Berger on Drum Talk TV.